Welcome to Peer Learning for You channel. Today we'll have the session Python Basics Part 3. If you have not seen the previous parts of Python Basics, please feel free to check that. I will add the link in the description. Apart from that, you can check the other videos posted in this channel. I'll add them also in this description. So today we will mainly cover sets, dictionaries, what are instances in a class, how to define variables, what are static methods, and what is inheritance. So let's begin. Sets. So let us see what are sets. I think we all are aware of sets in our schooling days. So think of a scenario where we have a circle, a yellow circle with few numbers 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, and we have another set of numbers which are like a green circle with some intersections with the yellow circle. So you can see in the green circle we have 2, 4, 6, 7, and 9 values, where 2 and 7s are intersecting with the yellow circle. And if we have another circle which is the blue circle, which also have some intersections with the above two circles. So these are sets, and like we can deal with yellow as a set of numbers, a green circle is a set of numbers, and blue circle is also a set of numbers. Now there can be different operations you want to do, where you can want to find which are the common numbers between yellow circles and green circles. So you can do an intersection between those two and you'll get the output as 2 and 7. If you want to do it for all the three circles, then 7 is the answer. And if you want to see like which numbers or which number is not part of yellow and green, then you do a difference with the blue circle with the other circles, then you'll get the number 5. So let us try to do it through Python. Okay, so I'm in the terminal. Let me start Python. Okay, so let us create those sets. So to create a set, it's another collection variable. So let us give the same variables 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8. Okay, then we have a green set where the numbers are 2, 4, 6, 7, and 9. And then we have a blue set where we have 3, 4, 5, and 7. Okay, so now let us find the common between all the three sets. So for that we need to write this yellow set dot intersection. Then we need to give the other sets as parameter, and it should return us 7. And you can see it returned a set known as 7. So there's other way you can do it. It's like there is a AND option where you can use it, this AND option, to get the similar kind of intersections. Sorry, spelling mistake. Yeah, so if you want to do it with multiple, you can do it with multiple sets, and you can see you can get the same result with the AND operator. Now if you want to find the difference, okay, so you want to find the number 5 in blue sets which is not present in yellow and green. For that we have the operation called as difference. So let us use that also. Difference, and again in the parameter you have to mention the other set. And you can get the result. So there's another way you can do it, is like there is a minus operator which actually subtracts the sets. That also you can use to get the similar result. And you can see you can get the same results. So these are the basic basic features of set. Apart from that, let me show you something else. Like suppose you want to create a set and your values are like there are duplicate values in your set. Okay, and but when you print that, you'll find that all the duplicate values got removed. So set actually discard all the duplicate values. Apart from that, if you can see, they try to maintain an order of your number. So they try to maintain an order, and you can see it's in a ascending order. So that's the sorting part. But if you want to play with or you want to rely on the sorting mechanism of sets, don't rely for the string part, because sometimes like it behaves a bit weirdly if you rely on the sorting mechanism of sets for strings. So for strings I prefer you go with the sorted option. Let me show you that also. Like suppose there is a string set. uh, maybe, maybe okay. Let us to take these strings, and now if I run the sorted function over this set, I will get a list of sorted arrays. Normally, string does auto sort things, but sometimes it behaves a bit weirdly for the string variables. So how to add new variable into a set? So let us add another number, for example 9, and see, and you can see the 9 got added. Now if you want to append another list or another set within a set, there is an option called update that you can use, and you can use this, and you can use like you can use multiple sets actually. And if the values are duplicate, it's going to discard them, and you can see it's going to discard the duplicate values, and it's going to append or update the set with the new values. You can update a new list within a set, and and uh, indexing is kind of not supported for sets. So what we do normally is like we convert that into a list, and then we do indexing on it. So this will give you the results. So whenever you need to kind of iterate over a set, you need to convert that into a list, and then you can do a indexing into it. Mind it, as sets are kind of sorted by default, it's very easy to do a search operation there, where in list the order is not sorted order. You need to sort the list, and then you can have the same feature that we have for the sets. To remove values, we can use the remove function. So for example, I want to remove 9, okay, and it got removed. Now suppose you want to remove something which is not present, for example 12. 12 is not present in X. If I do it, I'll get an error. So for this kind of operations, you can use discard, uh, which actually doesn't, sorry, which actually doesn't return you an error, okay, if it doesn't get the key. But if you send them a valid value, it's going to delete that value from the set. If you send something which is not present in the set, it's not throw you an error. So sometimes it's better to use discard in place of remove. But if you really want to get that error, you can continue with remove. Okay, so that's it from the set part. So let's start with dictionary now. So for that, I need to go to the terminal, and let us create some dictionaries. So how to create a dictionary? Let me show you that. X, we need to start similar to the set, but then you can actually have a key pair value relationship in a dictionary. So for example, let me show you that. And you can have this. So if I print it, we'll have this as a dictionary. So if I call this as name, I'll get I can retrieve the value of the key called name. Okay, so now you can actually add different types of data type within a dictionary. For example, I can add a new key called age, and I can have an integer as a value. For example, this. And if I go, I can see like I have different types of heterogeneous collection of variables within a dictionary. Apart from that, you can have a list also. For example, course, courses. Okay, and let me give a list where we can have like for example C sharp, Python, Java, whatever. So if I print it, I'll see I got a collection of different types of variables. Now, if I have to remove anything, I can do that also by calling this del function. It's not a function; it's just it's a command del, and then you have to specify which attribute you want deleted. And if you do it, it actually deletes the that that key and value pair from the dictionary. So if you want to update, for example, if you want to update the name and you want to add a new quotes and you want that age feature also within the dictionary in a single command, you can use the command called update, and you can use this. Uh, for example, I want to change the name to something else. For example, I want to make my full name. Okay, and then I need to add a new age, which will be suppose 35. And then in the courses also I want to add a new course, which will be C sharp, Python, Java, and for example R. Okay, this should be done, I think. And if I go now, I got all the stuff done. So now if I want to see what are the keys I have, I can straight away go and call this function keys, and I'll get all the keys that I have in my dictionary. If I want to see the values, I can go with the values, and I'll see all the values that I have in my dictionary as a list. So then if I want to see how many key value pair I have, I can go and have a len function, and that will give me the count of number of key value pairs. So there is another called items, and if you put it, you'll get all this key value pair in a tuple format. What's the advantage of this is like you can actually iterate through a dictionary. For example, it's iterating us two types of data, one is key, one is value. So I can iterate through this for key value from key value in x dot items, and I can print them. Print, let us use the formatting style, key value. Okay, and you can see it got printed like all the key value pair in x dot items. So that's it from the dictionary part. So let us talk about classes now. So class is defined as a blueprint of an object. Okay, so how to define a class in Python? So you can use the keyword class, and then let us create a employee object. Sorry, employee class, which will be an blueprint of an employee object. So for now, let us pass it, and let us keep it blank. Let us create few instances of this class. So this is how you can create instances of a class. Let us create a couple of them. And now if you try to print this employee 1 and employee 2, so you can see both the employee object got printed here. Both are employee object, but if you see the memory allocations, they are different memory allocated to them. So they are different objects of the same class employee. Okay, so now we can actually create instant variables here. So for example, I just want to create a variable called name, and I want to give it a name. uh, I want to create a age property also, and I want to give some age there, and to create some salary. So this can be an example. Okay, and now employee 2 dot name also will write, make it John, and employee 2 dot age equals to 20. uh, Employee 2 dot salary can be 200. And now we can um, print the content of uh, both the objects. Okay, so for example, employee 1 dot name, then employee 1 dot age, and then employee 1 dot salary. Similarly, we can do the print of the employee 2 object. So let me copy and paste few things here. Control C comes Control V, and I just need to swap the one with 2. Okay, so let's run it, and you can see we have kind of printed the instance variable. So you can see the instance variable also can be instantiated through the class template also. So how to do that? If you've gone through some other programming language, you will have the concept called constructor. In Python, we have a similar concept called init, though it is not a constructor, but it behaves similar to a constructor. Okay, so we will come later, like what is a default constructor of a class in Python. So that's a different session altogether. So let us treat like this init function will do the same thing for us. So it's kind of initializes the the class. So the first parameter of any method that you're going to write in a class will be self. If that class you want to instantiate instant variables. Okay, so if you want to instantiate a class with the instances, you need to make the first parameter as self of all your methods. Okay, so let me take some variable, name, age, and salary, and let me create some. So these are the instance variables of the class, and self dot salary equals to salary. Okay, now we can have that print method, which actually will print all the values, like print object. Okay, and here we can have the self. Okay, so we can do the same print here the way we have done below. So we can have self dot name, then we have self dot age, and then we can have self dot salary. Okay, and now we don't need to print things like this. We can delete it, and here we can have this method called employee1 dot sorry emp1 dot print object. Okay, And here also we can have this dot, sorry, two dot print object. Okay, and mind it, we have not given any values to this employee, so let us give some value. For example, the same values I'm going to give, and here I'm going to give John 12 200 something. Okay, so just think here, like currently we have four parameters expected. We are providing only three parameters, and I, as I explained, like self will be the employee object. So the instance object will be by default self, and your name, age, salary will be the instance associated variables. So let us run this part, and you can see it got printed. I have couple of print commands, and that's why I'm getting this error. So let me do one thing. Let me delete this print. I will just call this method directly and it's going to print it. Okay, so I don't need to call this print method explicitly. There's extra bracket here. Yeah, so you can see it got printed, this instance variable. So now you can actually create a class variable also here, where the variable is not tightly coupled with the instance. So even if you add more number of instances for that class, the value of that variable will be same. So I can have a counter method. Okay, so that can be a class method. For example, counter equals to 0, and then here I can actually increment that counter, employee dot counter plus equals to 1. Okay, so now what happens, this counter variable will be the class variable. Okay, and as I've initiated that in the constructor or the initialization in it, whenever you're going to create a new object, employee object, the counter will get incremented. So let us try to access this counter and try to print it. Print employee one dot counter. So actually you can access this counter method through the class name also, as well as through the instance name. But end of the day, it's going to print you the same value. So let me show you that also. Employee dot counter. Okay, let me run it out, and you can see all the three showing the same value. So let us create another employee here, and make it can 14300. Okay, and try to run it. It should be 3 everywhere. Yeah, so this shows you like what is a kind of instance variable and a class variable. Now as we have instance method, like we have class method and static method also. Okay, so as we have seen this method, this is a kind of instance method. Now if you want to write some class method, like which is going to do some activity, and it will be tightly coupled with the class, not the instance, you can actually create that kind of methods also. So for example, I want to create a class method, and that can be kind of return counter. Okay, okay. And whenever we're writing a class method, the first parameter will not be self, it will be the class object. So normally we go with the CLS name, and it's going to return CLS dot counter. Okay, and we need to decorate it. So there is a concept called decorator, and we're going to cover this decorator concept in our next sessions. But think of something like these are super features that we decorate a method, and the method behaves accordingly. So whenever we write this at the rate class method, this method becomes a class method. It's tightly coupled to the class. So it doesn't matter what kind of instance you create and what kind of instance value you initiate. This class method will be same for all the instances. So if I'm going to call this method, for example, rather than calling this counter variable, if I can call this return method return counter, okay, and by default it's going to detect the class which got associated with the employee one, and it's going to send this parameter. You don't have to give any class value here. Same goes for the employee uh, part also. So let us run and see if we can get some error, and no error found. So this is the way you can actually create class methods and you can use it. There is another concept called static method, which is like for helper methods and helper functions. Normally static method doesn't cannot access the class values or parameters and cannot modify them. So they are mainly independent helper methods, and they are very static in nature. So so let me kind of have a arbitrary method like check mid of month, and I will have a date object here. Okay, and then I can actually see the date object day should be less than equal to 15. Okay, if it is less than equal to 15, then let me return false, as it is not a uh, not mid of the month, and else I'm going to return true. Okay, so now if I call this method from employee one, mm, check mid of month, and here actually before that I need to import date time, and I need to send it here date time dot date or dot now. Okay, or we can go for today also. Okay, so let me see the output. uh, uh, yes, so if I call with this, it's obviously going to throw error because it is expecting two variables, because whenever you call any class methods through employee class, it actually send the first method as self, but this is a static method. Okay, so we cannot give that. um, so we can directly call the employee class and try to access it, and you can see it got accessed. I'm not printing it. That could be the reason it's not getting printed. Yes, so the output is false, and you can see, like, to call a static method you need to call through the employee name, not by the instance name. Okay, and by default there's a significant difference between a static method and a class method. Another thing you can do here is, like, you can decorate this with a static method. Otherwise sometimes it gives error also. I don't know why it didn't give error to me, uh, but ideally it throws an error. You can see these red marks. So so now you can see that those red marks gone. So ideally, whenever you're creating a static method or a class method, you need to decorate those methods appropriately. Otherwise it may give you uh, errors. Okay, so that's it from the class perspective. Now let us see what are inheritance. So let me create another class which will inherit this employee. For example, manager class, which is going to inherit the employee class. Okay, so let me put it pass for now. So there are multiple things you can do here. It's like there are functions which actually uh, checks whether a object is an object is a subclass of a class or not, or whether an instance is a instance of a class or not. So there are method called is instance, and is subclass. So you can take it as a homework, and you can see how going to use this instance and in subclass, and how what they returns. So as a kind of homework, you can take up these methods and you can explore these methods. Apart from that, what I can do is like, I want to create this manager class. So the good thing about this is like, I can actually, whenever you have a inheritance like a manager class inheriting an employee class, by default it inherits everything of the employee class, so you don't have to write anything common thing that you're going to use of employee class in manager. So for example, I want to create a, a direct manager instance. For example, let me create the manager instance. Manager1 equals to manager, and here if I provide those things, for example, manager1 uh, 40, maybe 300, and try to access the function manager1 dot uh, print object. uh, okay, let me see whether I'll get an error or not. And you can see I got printed manager 140 and 300. So without writing a single line of code, I can access whatever I have in employee. That's the beauty of inheritance. But suppose you need to add one more feature in the manager class. So for example, list of employees reporting to that manager. So for that, what you can do, you can actually write a init method here, and obviously self will be there. Then you can have your name, age, salary, and suppose list of employees. Okay, by default I'm going to keep it as uh, blank, and here you can call the init function of your super class, that is employee class. So you can call this method through the super, and you can send name, age, and salary, and then you can actually have the, sorry, this should be list of employees. Okay, list of employees equals to list of employees. Okay, so let us write some more methods, like for example add employee, where it will be self, sorry, self and employee. What you can do here is like self dot list of employees dot append emp. Okay, and here you can have remove employee function, and you can make it self, and you can have an employee here. So what you can do is like self dot list of employees dot remove, and you can have the employee object, and then you can actually uh, have the print of your list of employees you have. So print employees, if I give itself, and here I can have for emp in self dot list of employees. You can print it out, or you can call the emp dot print object. So let me see the given, yes, print object, yeah. So this is the thing we have done here so far, and so let us create this manager object now. So manager one is done, and here I just want to give emp1. Okay, so now if I print uh, this is the manager. Now if I want to print manager one dot uh, print employees, let me see whether it prints the employees or not. An error. that is super object but receive a string. 1 minute, I think I've done something wrong here. uh, so I think it should be something like this. Yeah, so you can see it got printed the employee class through the manager class. So the employee object got printed through the manager object. Now let me add another employee here, add employee, and we can make it emp2, and let me add another employee, add employee emp3. Okay, and let me print the employees, user1 dot print employees. Okay, let me see whether these two got added. Yeah, those two got added, and you can see the output savvy 10, 12, and 14. So let me just break it out. After addition of new employees. Okay, so now let me print, let us remove something. Okay, after removing employees, employee, okay, employee 2 maybe. Okay, so let us remove it, manager1 dot remove employee, and I just want to give employee 2, and then I just want to see whether it got modified or not. Print employees. Okay, let us run it, and you can see, so it was initially only one employee was there. After addition of employees we had 3 employees, and then we removed 2 and we had this 3, this 2 employee object. So you can see how easily we can actually use inheritance, and you can play with objects. And it contains all the manager related code here, where your employee related codes are being used in your employee classes. So it's a good encapsulating the complexity of a class. So I think that's it from the class point of view. uh, we will meet in the next session. Thank you. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, please give a like below, and please do subscribe to our channel for similar content.